I'm going to show you how to install this sweet tonneau cover on your truck right now. 3 weeks ago, I had never heard of this word right here, but I looked it up. It's tonneau, tonneau, tuna, tonneau. It's a tonneau cover. Tonneau. I'm pretty sure it's tonneau. It's a cover for the back of your truck. Didn't think I needed one until I was out there truck camping a couple times, and we used a tarp to cover everything. And using a tarp on the back of your truck to cover everything, keep it dry like your bed, does not work effectively, and it takes 10 years to take it off and on. So I'm like, I need a tonneau cover. So I went online and I used the scientific method to choose the best one. Which one's cheap, which we're gonna get fast, and I literally don't know which one I even got. So we're gonna open it right now and find out which one I got. It was like 200 bucks on Amazon. I'm like, next time I'm out truck tent camping, I'm gonna have a tonneau cover on there, and it's gonna be this one. And hopefully it's not a pain to install. I just pressure washed the back of my pickup. It's pretty heavy. I came back from my truck camping trip and this thing was sitting on my front porch. Leland and I are a little stir crazy. We've been home for like a week and we haven't been anywhere. It's like, let's go to the beach. Last 2 times we went truck camping, the only times, we camped in the snow. There's no fun in that. Now it's summertime, so what the freak? Let's see what's in the box here. In addition to this lovely cover, was wondering how it was so big. Look how big that thing is. It's got this stuff inside. And is it gonna be more waterproof than a friggin' tarp? I literally bought like 4 or 5 tarps trying to cover the back of my truck. And it wasn't bueno, man. Looks like there's not much to it. Hopefully there's directions. There are. And hopefully they're in English. They are. Good sign. I've read the directions. They didn't really make sense, but I've learned 2 things. Number 1, it's Gator. That's the name of this thing. And number 2, all you need to install it's a 9/16 and a half inch wrench. So I got these, and or socket. So I got that too. First step, you install these little weatherproofing foamy things on the end of each of these. No, it's gotta be even. OCD is strong in this one. Oh yeah. 2, 3, 4. So clearly I'm just gonna have to read these instructions one at a time. You don't have to drill any holes. You have these 3 clamps on each side of the truck that hold the rails on. The 2 rails are almost identical, but one's a little bit different because it's got this latch thing on the end. That's the driver's side one. With the little cushions on the end, there's almost enough pressure to kind of hold this thing in place. So this section right here goes against the side rail in your truck. Then you kind of push on that a little bit and it'll kind of almost stay in place. And I was delighted to see that this thing angles away to prevent water from getting in here to a large degree. Then you want this to be pretty much flush with your side rails as much as possible. And then you just take these 3 clamps on each side. You do the one in the middle first, and then you do these 8 inches from the end. You can see these clamps have a little bit of bite right here, and there's some bite here, so they should stay on pretty easily. And at first you just finger tighten them and then hit them with a 1/2 inch wrench. You might see that these aren't totally vertical right here, and that's because the 5th wheel has hit the side of my bed on many occasions and kind of jack things up a little bit here. This is the front one right here, and here's the back one. It's roughly finger tight, so now I'm going to just tighten it a little bit more, and then I'll hit all 3 of them with a wrench. See those guys? There's like a whole bunch of turkeys just hanging out in my front yard. That's why I moved to Oregon, because turkeys, you know. What's up, Tom? And then you just do the same thing for the other side. Make sure that this is level with the bed rails of your truck. Next, you have these tension blocks that you need to install. Here, they're only held in place by these little cotter pins, and you adjust them depending on how tight or loose things are. So you'll put it in and then adjust it afterwards as needed. But you start with the number 4 right here towards the cab on both sides. So you just put this here, drop it in, and then you put a cotter pin here in hole number 2 right there. At the end of the cover, we have these little rubber end caps. You pop both of these off like this, and then you take the lag bolts they provided you with, and you just slide them into here. And then you put the end cap back on. Do the same thing on both sides. This is how you're going to secure the whole thing to the truck. Those lag bolts, J-bolts we just installed, you just drop them in here on both sides. Notice there's some weather sealing. This is rubber right here. This goes on top of the end of your truck to try to keep the water out. You get the bolts in on both sides, and then you just grab this humongous washer and this 9/16, and you loosely screw it on here. It's a lock nut, so it's hard. You're gonna need to use a wrench. Next, you want to go ahead and unroll the entire cover, just kind of evenly, and notice that you're not worried about the Velcro really yet. You're just kind of unrolling it, going forward. And because this is a $200 cover and not one of these $2,000 ones I was looking at when I first got my truck, it's going to be a little bit more manual, but I think it's going to be really sufficient for what I need it to do. Okay, you're watching me do this live, so it's really tight. I'm afraid to keep going because I don't want to break anything. It's got these little straps right here, and I think you need to move them over here to kind of loosen it up a little bit. They need to be right near the edge of the bed rail. And then well, I gotta tailgate down to do it. There it goes. Oh, look at how tight that is. Oh, dude, that is way tighter than the tarps that I was using on our last little trips. And then to undo it, pull towards you apparently. Okay, I'm really excited because this thing gets so tight. Let's see if I can do this with this up, see if it'll even work. Just have to be a man about it. I adjusted these guys upward a little bit on each side to make this a tiny bit higher here. And now let's see if I can close this thing easily. So I'm going to close the tailgate. I'm going to pop this guy in here. Notice I've got the weather sealing there. And now, it just closes like a boss. And I've got weather sealing here. That's going to be way better than tarp. And then next is you want to make sure you seal the Velcro down here all the way on both sides, and that way the wind won't pick up and stuff. Do that on both sides. And then if you look over here, you've got this rubber weather sealing here. So, you know, it's not going to be 100%, but I think it's going to be really well weather sealed, especially compared to the tarps that I was using on our last trip. Now that it's installed properly, it's super easy to get in place. It's locked. To take it off, unroll it, you can simply unlock your truck. Your truck has to be locked. Tailgate, truck has to be unlocked. Tailgate, flip this baby towards you, and it's gonna jump up here, and you just roll it this way. Slightly less convenient than a hard cover. They do say not to store it directly against the cab, but to store it, you just grab these straps down here and hook it, and as long as it's not up against the cab, you should be golden. If it was too tight or too loose, you have these adjustment blocks right here, and you can flip it over, flip it around in 4 different ways, so you can get that thing tighter or looser as far as where this thing goes. And these, remember, are not super tight, so they can slide back and forth, and because they have lock nuts on them, they're not going anywhere. As far as security, it does give you a little bit of security, but somebody obviously take a knife and go right through it, and they could lift up the Velcro, which is a pain, and reach in there and grab things. But it's a lot more security than having an open truck bed. Plus it hides everything. So if your tailgate locks like mine does, it does give you a little bit of protection.
Well, dude, I'm kind of excited now. We should, let's go camping.
Okay. I'll use this for a bit. I'll let you know what I think. There's a link for this one in the description below if you wanna get one. And for 200 bucks, I am telling you already, I'm giddy to have this instead of a tarp. To see the first time we ever went truck camping, click right up there.